Hey, good morning. It's Patricia Murphy. It's Thursday. This is Seattle Now. Seattle and King County have committed to keeping young people out of jail. But an increase in gun crime has some cities asking for more scrutiny of programs set up to step in and which offenses are considered. And an upcoming prosecutor's race could signal a broader change. We'll talk with mentor Dom Davis about what it means to do the work and his hope for a new prosecutor. But first, let's get you caught up. We may be enjoying a bit of a lull, but the state's top doctor said yesterday the pandemic is not over. Health Secretary Umar Shah said hospitalizations, cases, and deaths are down statewide, although in King County, cases have actually been ticking up slightly. Meanwhile, the BA2 variant now makes up more than half of new cases, but there's no sign yet of another wave like we've seen elsewhere. People in this town love to say, don't move here. Well, the message may have gotten through. The Seattle Times FYI guy reports that King County's population dropped by around 20,000 people between 2020 and 2021. That puts us at about 2.2 million people. It's the first time the county has shrunk since the Boeing bust of the early 70s. And a new arena in Las Vegas could help bring the Sonics back to Seattle. Seattle Times reports that Climate Pledge Arena owners Oakview Group announced plans yesterday to build a $3 billion 20,000-seat venue just off the Vegas Strip. CEO Tim Lewicki says it'd be NBA ready. That could set the league up to add teams in 2 cities. The commissioner has already said Vegas and Seattle would be on the short list when the time comes, which by his account is probably going to be a while. Public safety is top of mind right now. Voters in Seattle have said they want a stronger law and order approach when it comes to handling crime. And newly elected Mayor Bruce Harrell and Republican City Attorney Ann Davison have both said they're ready to take a tougher approach. But the city, along with King County, have also committed to restorative justice when young people are involved in crimes. Longtime prosecuting attorney Dan Satterberg led the effort in his office. He says mentors from the community can be effective and want to be involved.
We have people who are willing to work with young people who carry guns and really dig into the personal reasons why they might do so and try to steer them in a different direction.
King County's restorative Community Passageways offers an alternative to the criminal justice system for some crimes. Instead of a judge, a young person enters into a mentorship program to address the offense and help with needs like stable, safe housing and access to mental health. The county has committed to zero youth detention by 2025, and in his nearly decade and a half in office, Satterberg has been willing to find alternatives to youth incarceration. But a change could be coming. Earlier this year, he announced he won't seek re-election, and that's making Dom Davis of Community Passageways a little nervous about the future of restorative justice in King County.
We have built a collaboration where that we can have an open door policy to come in and be able to talk about charges and mitigate charges and get better outcomes for young people to keep them out of the prison system.
But not everyone is convinced that the community approach is the best way to address young people who are arrested. Last month, the mayors of Kent, Auburn, Federal Way, and Renton asked the King County Council to pause the diversion program and re-examine which crimes are considered. Auburn Mayor Nancy Backus was in favor of the pause.
Our concern is over some of the crimes that are considered eligible offenses. That's where I am truly focused, and I believe some of my fellow mayors are as well. With gun crimes being on the increase significantly in South King County and throughout the country, in fact, we just believe that it's more important that perhaps a judge is involved in this process.
The King County Council voted to continue with the restorative justice program despite the objections. Prosecutor Dan Satterberg says community members can work with young people in ways the court system can't.
A young person found with a gun is not going to go away forever. And in fact, they're not going to spend any time in detention, and they'll be right back in the community. So do you want to surround them with supports, with people who will help them and help them get stabilized and maybe back into a different school situation or have a career path or something. That's what the community groups do. The court can't do any of that. And particularly right now, when we have a double caseload in our superior court, we're not going to be able to do any of that work with young people with guns or with people with drug problems or any of that. Our court system in King County and around the country, we're going to be spending years digging out of serious violent crimes. And we have right now more than 250 open murder cases that we have to get in front of a jury, and we have to do that soon. So to think that somehow the court is also going to fix all of the other problems in society is, again, that's a fantasy. It's not really what's going to happen. So we need to enlist more help from community members who want to help on public safety and have a unique perspective and unique persuasive power.
But across the county, programs are feeling increased pressure to show that community support, mentors, and restoration are more beneficial than incarceration for young people. It's too soon to tell what a new prosecuting attorney would mean for programs like Seattle-based Community Passageways. Founder and longtime mentor Dom Davis likes to say he received his PhD in the streets from the University of Rainier and Henderson. We asked Dom what it's like to be in Community Passageways right now at a time when it seems like the city could be shifting away from youth deferment.
The first thing that pops into my head is it's a little scary. Well, I mean a little scary on both ends because we're around so much violence and so many bullets that you start developing some PTSD behind it. And then it's a little scary and a little traumatizing because you see a system starting to shift backwards into what you know is not going to work and hasn't worked and also has decimated the Black and brown communities for years and years and years. It's pulled our fathers, our grandfathers, our coaches, our mentors, our brothers, and our uncles out of our community. And so we know that people are talking about going back to that and just locking up more Black bodies. And I know that's not going to work. So I have fear on both ends and PTSD on both ends. That's how it feels. And so one of my biggest battles now is fighting the political environment that is trying to push back against this work that we are doing. And then at the same time, my other biggest fear is how do we make sure that we are protecting the people that are doing this work at the highest level, right? That's a challenge sometimes because we put ourselves in harm's way so much.
The level of complexity Dom and his fellow mentors at Community Passageways navigate with young people they serve cannot be remedied by a single program or community group, and county support is critical. There are now 3 candidates running to fill Dan Satterberg's seat. Lisa Mannion, who is Satterberg's current chief of staff, Stephen Thomas, current deputy in the prosecutor's office, and Federal Way Mayor Jim Farrell. He's one of the mayors who asked the county council to re-examine the kind of work that Community Passageways and other groups do. Dom is hopeful that the next person to lead the King County prosecutor's office will be supportive of the work he and his team are committed to doing.
Whoever goes into that seat, I hope to see them step into the community on a regular basis, work hand in hand, side by side with the community on case by case, situation by situation, family by family, and sit down and go, how do we make this system, this whole department better? I want that person to come in and clean house of the naysayers, the people that don't believe in the work and in changing and going a different direction. I want him to clean or her to clean house in that department of people that are going to try to stick with the same old, right? That racist institutional mindset. Like I want house to be clean. I want them to be able to say, we are going to support this work at the highest level it can be supported. And we're going to make sure that we have barriers and structures in the way and safety nets for anybody that might look like they might be failing. Right. And be willing to have those conversations. I hope the next person that sits in that seat lets somebody from the community sit at the table with them when they decide who's going to get filed on, who ain't going to get filed on. At that point, who's going to get pushed over to the federal courts, who's not going to get pushed over to the federal courts. If we have community input and buy-in there with a plan structured around that, and what that looks like for that individual case, I think that would make the system so much better.
One thing is clear. The city and the county are at an intersection between what it means to do restorative justice while taking a tough on crime approach. The vote for King County prosecutor will happen later this summer. One more thing before we go today. It's KUOW's spring membership drive, and we need Seattle Now listeners to show their support. Any amount you can give will help us meet our goal. $2 a month, $5 a month, or one lump sum works too. What you need to know is that every dollar of your support makes this show happen and all of the KUOW shows you enjoy. We'll put a link in the show notes to donate. If you can pitch in, mention Seattle Now, and we'll thank you by name on the show. Thanks for listening today. Diana Opong produced today's show. Matt Jorgensen does our theme music. I'm Patricia Murphy. See you tomorrow.